Hey, Julia Barzyk here from Wise Investigator. Have you been making the most of AI in your quest towards research funding? If you're not sure, or you know that you haven't, then listen up because I'm going to share with you 3 use cases for AI in your quest for funding that I believe are very approachable, they're very safe, they avoid a lot of the potential problems that come with using AI as related to your research. And the big thing here that they all have in common, so I want you to listen to this piece most importantly of all so that you can find your own ways to be creative and use these AI tools to work for you and save you time. And I'm finding in many cases even get me a better product. And that is using them with dictation. Dictation has been saving my life recently, and it has been helping some of our clients as well too. So the big thing about dictation that makes it very valuable now is how much the transcription software has improved in recent years. I remember way back in many years past that transcription was a very time and labor intensive process to take an audio recording and actually have a person manually enter that information into a document so that you could have the written word. And I've found that using dictation and the associated transcription with AI is a very, very powerful way to, again, get a better product and save time. So what are some use cases for this? Well, recently we worked with someone who needed to create a video for a funding opportunity. And what we were able to do was to get on a Zoom call and in just about 30 minutes, have this PI talk through the research that he wanted to do. And this was super easy because it's work that he's already engaged in and it's work that he knows very well and he's excited about it. So it took him no time to prepare for the call. All he had to do was get on there and start talking. So from this transcript that was generated in this brief call, we were able to get AI to organize the information and create a draft outline structure of what he needed to take the project the next step. And when we're looking at the output, it is very easy for the PI to read that, know right away, is this framed accurately? Is there anything incorrect in here? Is this exactly the way that I would want to communicate it? Because it's 100% generated from, in this case, this person's very own words that they just spoke out an hour before. So there is no risk of introducing any incorrect information, interpreting any other documents incorrectly, like what can happen if you're asking AI to pull out information from a document that you don't know, that you didn't generate. Things can go wrong there. In this case, it's a closed system. There's the person speaking the information out, there is the transcript that's generated, and then AI is organizing that information for you. And then you have that safeguard because what's generated is short enough and easy enough for you to quickly read through, identify if there are any problems there, fix things that could be stated a little bit better, take out something that you don't think is that relevant, and you've got something to work from. I have spent many, many, many years in the business of summarizing research. The vast majority of the work that I did in this area was summarizing other people's research because I was a program manager. So I would often have to be explaining other people's research to my leadership, to others, and I know how much time that can take and how challenging it can be to find the right scope and the right wording when you've got to condense something down again into that summary. Even harder when it's not your own work, or sometimes it is harder maybe if it is your work because you know it so deeply and you're not sure exactly where your focal point is going to be, should be for the audience that you're trying to reach. So this is a huge win in my view to use AI for this purpose. Another application that I found recently, and this could definitely be applied to you as a PI. In this case, I was doing this for my own work, is I wanted to submit an abstract to present something. And I looked at what was asked for in the abstract, and I just spoke out what I wanted to talk about, what topics I wanted to cover, just like I'm speaking to you right now. And then I asked AI to generate an abstract of the appropriate number of words, and that it did. And it came out really well. So all I did at the bottom of that, there was a space for comments. There wasn't any instructions for this event. Can you use AI or not? There was nothing was said about it. So I said with a little note that I dictated my response and AI created the abstract. And if a non-AI generated abstract is needed, please let me know because I can submit that. And I made a note that in the slides that I would be presenting, if this is accepted, they are not generated by AI, which is true. There is no AI generated content in that material that I have ready and that I would be adapting for use at this event. And the abstract was accepted and no one had any problem with that. The third case I would like you to think about is in any kind of response to comments, because you are going to be able to, if somebody, for example, a reviewer, or really any other kinds of statements that you are asked to comment upon, because this can be broad. And I used this approach for something very recently as well, myself, for some of my own work. And this would be to, again, speak out the answers or your responses or rebuttals to what the statements that have been made. It's going to be very easy for you to do this because if someone is criticizing some of your work or asking for a better explanation, a more thorough explanation, I know from speaking with so many of you all over the years that you don't have to go searching for that information. That information is just at the top of your mind. You're going to be able to start explaining it very easily. So you can do this practically just make an audio file on your phone, like when you're taking a walk, or you can do it so easily and so quickly. And then you're going to have AI organize the information for you. And that is an enormous time saver. I'm finding that it's really hitting the right mark in terms of scope or getting that messaging down to the core of what it really needs to be. And it's just a huge time saver. You can just get through some of this stuff so much more quickly. Now, a couple caveats here would be you want to make sure that you're asking AI to do tasks that you already do know how to do. Now, at this stage of my career, I know how to write an abstract for my own work. I know how to support a PI in writing an abstract. So I'm very confident that I can assess what AI, the performance of AI in that product, using my own professional expertise and my own opinion on it. So if you are just starting out in your career and you have not developed these skills yet, I think you really do need to make sure you develop the skills so that you can do this stuff on your own, because then you're going to use AI to help you work faster. And sometimes maybe, I think, a bit better too. If you also are very young, say not just early in your career, but young, and you do run the risk of people perhaps being more likely to accuse you of not having your own ideas. They could think, oh, you submit something that seems like very AI generated, then that could backfire. For me, at the stage of my career that I am, and for this abstract scenario, it felt very appropriate for me to just say, look, this is what I did. This is how I generated it. I'm more than capable of generating a handwritten abstract. I mean, I can even write it out by hand if they want me to do that. But if you are very early in your career and or a young person, then you want to make sure, of course, you develop the skill yourself, and then you do honestly have to worry about perception, because if something is coming in from a very young person and it looks to be AI generated, I do think that people could think, oh, does this person really know their stuff? So the other thing is, I would say, okay, dictation is huge. That's a huge part of all of this, I'm finding. Make sure you know how to do what you are asking AI to do, so you could stand on your own there. It's just like learning how to do arithmetic, and then you're allowed to use a calculator, and then you're allowed to use a computer to do stuff, but you're not going to be running numerical simulations if you can't do that basic math, because okay, it's not they're not going to have any value, right, if you do that. So the last thing I would say here is, especially if you are later in your career, like mid-career, or you're established in some way, have confidence that people do believe that you know what you're talking about, and that if you do use AI, you're using it as a tool like you use a calculator or a computer to do computation. That it's okay to use it and be open about it, in my view, because, for example, I also have AI write the video descriptions for all of these YouTube videos that I make. And if you look at the video description, and I'll have it generate one for this video, it's going to look pretty obviously generated by AI. But I don't think the video descriptions are that important as far as the message that I want to get out to people. Most of you probably don't read the video descriptions, and they're there for another purpose, which is really for the YouTube algorithm, so that people can find this content for searching and stuff like that. So they're not that important. It's not important for me to write those out manually. And if somebody would question if I know what I'm talking about, or say, does she know what she's talking about, or is she just using AI to generate all this content and maybe even run my whole business? I generated the idea for my business with AI or something like that. It's ridiculous, because I have a lot of videos, okay, a lot of videos on YouTube where I'm speaking like I am now, extemporaneously, without a script. I'm in the park, I'm on my dog walk, and I'll wrap up soon, but I could talk about this stuff indefinitely. So there's no one is really going to have a question, do I know what I'm talking about, or am I just using AI to come up with ideas? It just doesn't make sense. There's too much evidence that I do know what I'm talking about. So getting back to you, that's going to be the same for you. You have many accomplishments. You have many publications. Most of you are in a faculty position, or you're on your way there. So you know what you're talking about. These are your ideas. And when you're using AI to organize and structure your own ideas, and it's not bringing in any new content, then in my opinion, you don't need to worry nearly as much about the use of AI and leveraging that tool as you do when you're asking it to come up with information for you.